All right, traders, welcome to the end of day recap. This is Christian Promhertz, Tribeca Trade Group, and wow, what a month end day. A lot of volume today. You can see in S&P futures. Probably see this in SPY as well. One thing to look at, just a monster day again. We're up 65 basis points in S&P futures. I think we sold off there a little bit. I guess the difference between when the S&P futures close is probably a little bit different. SPY up 88 basis points. But if you go back to the S&P chart that I have here, I try not to really overanalyze the S&P chart, but you could see that we hit this trend line. I noticed this on the 5-minute bar today. We got kind of crazy bid up here around midday, about 12:45. Look at where we touched. So I noticed this on my 5-minute chart today, and I said, where did that trend line arise from? These are trend lines that obviously I manually draw in, but this is something from all the way back here that I've had this trend line drawn. And if you kind of zoom in a little bit, you could see that a couple times this really became valid here, and in here we almost got up to it. Notice we've been underneath this trend line for months, and we just kind of touched it and reverted. So I don't know if this is really the reason why we sold off right on a dime up here, but maybe we're just a little bit we just got a little bit too extended. Again, looking at the RSI kind of makes a little bit of sense to me. Some of the other, I'll go through some sectors. Really, again, just a changing of the hands almost every day with in terms of leaders and things that outperform. It's like a kid in a candy store. As long as you can quickly kind of move from sector to sector. I put the wrong symbol in, but ITA, this is aerospace and defense. Really, really strong, up 1.2%. Actually, what I wanted to go to was the transports. This is what led yesterday. My goodness, what a move today in the transports, followed by yesterday's move. So up 2%, and it makes, in 2-3 days, just 2 days. I mean, 176 to 185 in the transports. Holy cow! Just a colossal move. I guess I need more adjectives to try to put that together. Come up with a better description of something crazy, but what a move. FDX is your biggest weight, which we've seen call buying. We saw call buying. That was the first order that we saw yesterday. It was a weekly call buyer in FedEx. What a great signal. I took that trade yesterday. I was happy with the gains, and I took it off yesterday, and it made another big move. They actually came in and bought more calls today in FedEx. Again, that's your biggest weight in the transports index. So really nice move there. I was going to jump to a couple other things, but the Qs hung in there. They did fine, inside day after a big day. Again, I think perfectly normal. Again, this was, I thought, a pretty violent move yesterday, but when things rotate around, when something's really overbought, to me it makes sense. Again, just to give you some pure numbers, I collect the ETF data every day. I put it in my weekend newsletter. Subscribers get this. So every week for the last 5 weeks, I've been talking about how there's just been monster inflows into technology. For the last 5 weeks, it's been $3.5 billion that have gone into tech. That's more than twice as much than any other sector. So when things rotate around, when something gets that bid up, there's going to be pretty heavy profit taking. I think yesterday there was about $800 million, $700 million taken out of tech. Just ETFs alone. I just measure the ETF numbers. So if that's just that, you could kind of you could kind of guess what some of the other individual names did as far as profit taking. So again, I think rotation, and I think really good to see this not kind of crumble any further and kind of hold in there. We'll see what we do tomorrow, but for today, inside day. The industrials, let me just show you something. Speaking of the weekend newsletter, again, I'm kind of patting myself on the back here, but if you could look from our newsletter that we sent out to subscribers this weekend, I talked about how there's a couple really interesting things that were going on in industrials. So this is the before chart. of the industrials ETF, XLI, which we did see some call buying in this week. Now look at it. So, some of these signals just made a lot of sense to me that we were going to see a rotation into industrials. Very, very strong. We saw a nice call buyer in XLB, the materials ETF that did not finish on the highs, but we were able to take a target in that one. Really nice. And then biotech. Biotech has been kind of the missing link, I would say, the last couple months, frustrating the hell out of a lot of people. Remember, like on certain financial media shows, I don't want to call anybody out in terms of TV shows, but everybody was talking about, hey, getting excited about biotech up here, possibly taking the next leg higher. And then it just kind of fell flat on its face for the last month, really shaking a lot of people out, and getting really kind of pissed off, because I think there's a lot of small cap biotech investors out there that got really excited about this move, including myself. I was long XBI. So what have we seen here the last couple days? We've seen some call buying. We saw call buying 2 days ago in the XBI ETF that kind of just, again, the option volume just gives you a nice signal that something's changing, and that somebody has an idea that things are going to revert. This was the call buyer. This was Tuesday that came up, 7,000 of these January 85s. And then after that, before that, we actually, it's been a lot of put buying in XBI all through this. Again, XBI is the equally weighted ETF. I look at this one more than IBB because it's a good representation of the whole sector. IBB is skewed to the bigger names in the group, like Celgene and Biogen. XBI is everything. And then today, if you look at the flow in XBI, they came in and they bought more. So more calls being bought. January's 84s a couple times today. Also the January 85s also bought. So again, much better looking flow for biotech, which tells me, we kind of analyzed this chart at the end of the day in the trading room, but I'm looking for a move. This is the new December value area. Looking for a move above first this 84 hand, or 83.60, call it, and then a move above this purple line, which is the 50-day moving average, for confirmation. I think it looks pretty good. You can see the first bar down here, MACD crossover, very, very new. So if you're not in biotech yet, I think this could have a lot of upside to go if we get a little bit more confirmation first. And then what else? Energy names, also with OPEC also kind of turning the corner here. Again, a lot of people got excited on the break of the 200-day moving average to the upside, and then it's completely stalled and fell flat on its face. So short-term positions, are not going to be able to weather the storm. We were talking about, speaking of, having positions a little bit too short and some tricky moves. ICE, which is another exchange stock. I've been in CME for a while, which has worked out really well. I was in ICE back here when we saw call activity. This was a kind of a tough action, whipsaw action, and it went all the way back, and now it's extending. So more calls going up in ICE today. 5,000 of those Jan 75s going up. What else did we see today? In terms of other, might as well just move right to the options, to the rest of the option activity. CRM, Salesforce.com. This is kind of this is textbook. This is what you want to see. A name that had earnings, pretty good earnings, I thought. But a major move into that earnings print, so probably a little bit too overbought. I did not play Salesforce for earnings because I thought it had moved too quick, too far, too fast, basically in a straight line. But now you've got a decent retracement, and where do they come in buying calls? Down what, about 5% from the highs after earnings. So you can't ask. I mean, this is dip buying in an uptrend, which is what this year's been all about, in my opinion. Real nice trade. Couple trades went up today in Salesforce.com. Just a couple quick other trades. Speaking of energy, which I'm going back and forth here a couple times, but AMLP, this is the MLP ETF. It's kind of been in a big downtrend. Take a look at the volume today in this. Somebody's thinking that this is putting in a low for today, today. So this chart is dividend adjusted, but biggest volume since all the way back here, since this kind of capitulation. Keep an eye on this one. AMLP, they also bought calls in this one.
So, Kelly, as we take a look at where the heat was, the activity, all the trading volumes.
Let me just look at the sweeps. January 10 calls were bought. Looks like the December 8th calls were also bought. This is a small trade, though. Also, you know, when you look at the names that are in the AMLP ETF, EPD is one of them. We saw some calls being purchased in this one. June 28 calls, so pretty far out of the money, but some call buying went up there. But again, look at that volume. All right, and I think that's it. I could talk a little bit about my trades. You know, Visa, I could not believe the price action yesterday in Visa. I added to this position. I got rescued today. Thank you, Visa, for coming back today and got me out about 65% of this trade for profits. So made this trade into a profitable trade and saved this yesterday by adding to it a couple times. Some other trades you could just kind of, if you want to see the blotter of what I traded today, you are welcome to do that. CS was also was able to take a target in that one. Schlumberger, which I own a little bit of that counter trend trade. Apple, I day traded that, made a little bit of money in that one. I was already long XBI, so was able to take a target in that one. PG, target in that one. Target in NVIDIA from yesterday. I'm still holding a piece of that. Oh, RRGB, I'll kind of leave it with here. This was really nice. If you pay attention to the tape, sometimes you get a nice little surprise. But RRGB, really nice big block of calls. I did not hesitate when I took that trade. Went into this trade at 35 cents, December 55 calls, and took profits at 70 cents, double in about 20 minutes. Really, really nice. So I'll leave it there. Great day all around, great month, huge month for me. Finished way in the black for the month, especially today, helping out a ton. But really nice week as well. Thanks very much for watching the video. Check us out, TribecaTradeGroup.com. If you would like a free trial, you can email me. My email address is cfromhertz@gmail.com, CFROMHERTZ@gmail.com. Happy to provide you if you're a serious trader. I want you in the room. If you're kind of, not so much, then don't email me. But I only want serious traders and good traders. We've got a ton of great traders in the room that just bring the strength of the room up, up, and up, and that's what we've got going on. So if you're a serious trader, email me. I'll provide you with a couple-day trial so you can check it out. Check out what we got going on. Thanks very much. Have a great night.